And welcome to the Friday Sports Buzz from the iTech Studios, a special edition tonight as we talk about UK's championship season. Joining me on this special edition of the Friday Sports Buzz is Michael Grant from the Courier-Journal and Wave 3's Kendrick Haskins. Guys, Kendrick, I know you covered the entire tournament and you were on the road for pretty much most of the month. Yeah. But what was the scene like when you finally got down to New Orleans and you had UK and U of L both down there?
It was wild, especially out on Bourbon Street.
I can imagine.
And actually, the U of L fans outnumbered the Kentucky fans on Bourbon Street, which, you know, Louisville fans love their partying and beverages. But, I mean, everyone seemed like they was getting along, and it seemed like after the game, it seemed like the UK fans down there, U of L earned their respect because of the way they kept fighting in that game. They did not give up. I mean, because then when they went down by 10 early, they could have easily just laid down and quit, but they didn't. And I think they earned a lot of the respect from the Kentucky fans down there. But it was a wild scene. It was a fun time to be had because there's so many people down there from the Louisville and the Kentucky area. It was just a blast down there.
You know, Michael, I thought this was going to be basketball Armageddon, as a lot of people called it when we saw that UK was going to play U of L in the Final Four. But it seems like it never really blew up to the crescendo of it was going to be, you know, such a hatred, which I really thought that would be the case. It was more of a, I mean, sure, UK and U of L will always be bitter rivals, and I think probably the most bitter of all the college rivalries. But there did seem to be, as Kendrick said, some amount of respect between the two teams and the two fan bases.
Yeah, I think part of that is the fact that UK overall was just such a consensus favorite, and the two teams had met earlier, and while U of L proved it could play with UK, nobody really proved it could, you know, really seriously threaten the Cats. And when you look at the disparity in talent and the fact that U of L fans, like, this was a successful season just to get to the Sweet 16. Sure. After that, it was pretty much gravy. So I think while some U of L, obviously a lot of U of L fans disappointed in the final outcome, I think they're pretty realistic about expectations.
I thought Rick Pitino may probably soothed a lot of wounds maybe when he said after the game that he told John Calipari that to bring it back home to Kentucky.
Yeah, I think that went a long way with calming down things around here. I don't know about back here, but down there, it seemed like a lot of people, it was a general, almost, I wouldn't call it a love fest, but it was a lot of big respect between the two rivals down there. Because I think even the Kentucky fans, I mean, of course they cheering for their Cats to win, but you kind of had to cheer for U of L because they kept coming back, and they kept coming back, and they kept fighting. And then when they tied it, I think everybody in Big Blue Nation got a little tight.
But also, Pitino wants to make himself look good. I mean, you say, hey, what do you want? We lost to the national champion.
Yeah. Well, I think there's probably something to be said for that. But I did think it was, seems like Pitino took the filter off a little bit through this tournament, and even said at one point, you know, there were some Kentucky teams that he frankly didn't like, but this was not one of those teams that he thought everybody carried themselves pretty well.
Well, any college basketball coach that watches this team, I mean, what's not to like about the way Anthony Davis plays or Michael Kidd-Gilchrist? Both of those guys play their tails off and play with such a passion and play so hard that regardless if they're scoring or not, it's a very mature team, very unselfish team. From a coaching standpoint, I don't think there's a lot to dislike.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a coach, you have to love this team, even if you're playing against them, because when Gilchrist is you know, arguably their best player on the team athletically, and he's the hardest working player on the team, and his motor does not stop. He does not get tired. He keeps going, even when he's tired. I mean, he makes that block against Kansas at the end of the game. Right. I mean, he came out of nowhere. He was beaten on that play. And he came out of nowhere. He makes that block, may have saved the game because I think it would have cut it to, what, 2 or 1 or something like that. And so when you got a player like that gives that much, when this kid, if he could have gone straight to the NBA, he would have. When you have this player giving that kind of effort, you have to love this team.
And by all accounts, both of these kids, I mean, they're not kids with attitudes or morose or anything like that. So just when you interact with them, they're an easy two kids to root for.
And that was going to be my next question, because Kendrick and I have talked about this throughout the season. You guys have been in the locker room with these guys, and you've been around these guys all season long. This seems like, and Kendrick has mentioned this to me a couple of times, they're good guys to be around.
Undoubtedly, and when you talk to both of them, you know, they don't seem to be talking about the next step, and I mean, obviously that's going to happen, but both of them seem to really relish and enjoy the college experience and playing for the University of Kentucky, and that means a lot to the fans.
And U of L and with UK and IU kids too. I mean, they're all just great kids. There's not big egos with any of them, and they're easy to root for. It's easy to root for these kids, and it's not a fan thing or we like one over the other. They're just great guys to root for, and they're always smiling. They're easy to talk to, win or lose, and it's just a joy to be around.
I've told people this forever. They say, well, you grew up a UK fan, so you must hate U of L or you must, hate IU. And I said, that's never been the case, because once you get around these kids, it's really easy. And I'm not talking about this team. I'm talking about teams over the past, 18 years that I covered sports. It's like when you get around those guys, you start rooting for kids. You start pulling for kids. You start pulling for even some of the coaches that you get to know. And this seemed like one of those teams that it would be easy to root for, whether you grew up a U of L fan like you did, Kendrick, or, I don't know, a Buffalo fan.
Still haven't made the tournament yet.
Yeah, Buffalo will be there one of these days, huh?
We have a top 10 dental school.
Well, that's something to pull for anyway. You mentioned, talking about these players, NBA picks, I mean, what are we going to see, 5, 6 come off this team?
I think the entire starting lineup probably is going to play in the NBA, and you've got 2 guys coming off the bench, and Darius Miller and even Kyle Wiltshire, I think in a few years, or if not next year, could emerge as a first-round pick. He reminds me a lot of Tayshaun Prince in that he's very long, he's very lean, very athletic, doesn't handle the ball as well as Prince, but he's going to play in the league.
And he's got a stroke.
And he can shoot.
He can shoot. He doesn't quite play defense as well as Tayshaun Prince.
No, but he can pick up some block shots.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all those kids will probably be in the NBA, and Louisville's got a couple players that could sniff the NBA too. There's a lot of NBA talent on both squads this year.
Yeah, I just, obviously Anthony Davis is your overall #1 pick, and I think he's been the big reason. I mean, you don't have to be a basketball expert to say that he's the reason that it was UK and everybody else this year.
Yeah, because even Russ Smith, I thought he made a good point, and it wasn't a slap at UK, but his point was after that game is that UK is good defensively, but they're not great until you put Anthony Davis in there.
That's a very good point.
Because I asked him about getting to the rim. He's like, getting to the rim was not a problem. It's just knowing what to do with it when you get there, because you have him coming there to block his shot, or even if you try to pass it, he's long enough where he can deflect the pass. It's just hard to get around that guy.
And it always affects shooting in the paint, because you don't know if he's coming from behind you. You don't know where he is on the court. So teams, just his presence affects shooting percentage.
I mean, when have you seen guys block as many three-point shots as he does? And he blocks a three-point shot, seems like, every game.
Well, and I just felt like if there was a stat for shots that you've altered, he may have a quadruple double in there somewhere. All right, you're watching a special edition here of the Friday Sports Buzz. We're wrapping up the UK Championship season. Stay with us right here on WBNA.
Hi, I'm Joey Craig of Craig & Landers Cars. I'd like to invite you out to our newest location here in beautiful Crestwood. My father, Larry Craig, started our business over 37 years ago. We now have 7 great locations to serve Kentuckiana with over 500 automobiles in stock. We are a family-owned and operated business that believes in taking care of customers. Stop by and see for yourself. See you soon.
Now you're thinking smart with Craig & Landry Cars.
Hi, I'm Jim Weeks. At MaxCare, no project is too big. We have the capabilities to handle the smallest residential project to the largest commercial undertaking. We even clean big houses like this one. And everyone has been abuzz about our amazing 4 areas for $99 special. We want to let everyone know that MaxCare also cleans upholstery, ceramic tile, and air ducts. We also install and refinish hardwood floors dust-free. MaxCare, locally owned and family operated. Give us a call, 636-4629.
Amanda had $3,000 until her transmission went. Rick had $4,000 before his engine died. Sue has no money and her onboard computer broke. No one likes putting money into their car for repairs. Get AutoAssure and be assured you won't have to. With AutoAssure, you never have to put money into expensive covered repairs. You keep it. It's guaranteed protection. You can keep your mechanic, your dealer. AutoAssure pays them directly. You choose the coverage you need on any make or any model car, and you don't lay out a penny. Not for a fuel injection system, air conditioning, suspension system, or anything else. We all want to keep our cars longer. The choice is yours. Do you want to pay for expensive auto repairs or let AutoAssure pay them for you? Call right now and get a bonus package worth $100 that includes roadside assistance, towing, and rental car coverage for peace of mind.
Call AutoAssure at 1-800-943-3097 right now and stop putting money into auto repairs. Go to AutoAssure.com or call 1-800-943-3097.
A special edition of the Friday Sports Buzz here on WBNA as we wrap up UK's championship season. Before we continue to talk basketball here, I want to remind everybody to check out livingforless.org. It is your new home for savings on restaurants, golf courses, and hotels, zipline tours, limousine service. They've got it all. Go to livingforless.org. Michael Grant from the Courier-Journal, Kendrick Haskins from Wave 3 joining me tonight as we wrap up UK's championship season here. When do you guys feel like this team really clicked, like it was going to be UK and everyone else? Or was it right out of the gate? When was that point where you said, okay, this team really is what we think they're going to be?
For me, it was actually at their scrimmage when I got
Really?
to see them play,
Right.
because I was astounded by the fact that Anthony Davis could cover so much ground, and you also had Michael Kidd-Gilchrist there, who's great on the perimeter defensively. And if you got Jones back, you got Lamb back, just looking at that team, I thought to myself, this is a championship caliber team.
I thought so. I thought it could be early in the season, but I think the North Carolina game is what put it over the top for me, just because North Carolina came in and North Carolina hit them with a good shot.
Yeah, they did.
Early
Yeah,
on
sure
in
they
that game. And UK, again, they could have laid down, and they didn't, especially with those young kids that are all basically freshmen and sophomores. Because I love how they talk about Jones and Lamb like they're elder statesmen. They're sophomores.
They're sophomores, yeah. That's veterans in the John Calipari
I feel
system.
that way because those guys have Final Four experience as
Right.
sophomores.
That's true. You know, I thought, I really thought it came together in February. But you're right. We saw in December, and we saw in January, especially when that SEC season started. But I always had a little bit of doubt because I thought the SEC was going to be a lot better than it ended up being. I mean, I thought I would have, before the season, I would have put the SEC up there, maybe take the top 5 SEC teams and put them against any top 5 in the country of other conferences, but it just never shaped out that way.
But look what they did to Kansas when they hit them with that, not the championship game, but the regular season matchup when they hit them in the second half, and Kansas didn't recover at all.
Right.
I didn't. That was a game though. I expected them to win that game. But I just didn't have a good feeling on Kansas coming into the season.
but
I knew they had Thomas Robinson.
but
and
it's
that
still
was better.
Kansas.
But it's still Kansas, and they didn't get in awe of the Kansas name, which is saying a lot with these young kids. They never really, nothing ever really fazed them.
Yeah.
Even though their 2 losses, they bounced right back. Nothing fazed them, and I really do think, no coach is ever going to say there's a good loss. That Vanderbilt loss in the SEC championship game may have been the best thing that happened to them, because it did look like they was kind of getting a little bit arrogant in the Florida game before that game, and I think that loss kind of brought them down to earth. They made them realize, hey, we got to start playing as a team again. They did that, and they just rolled right on.
But even when you look at the thing that I always wonder is if Kendall Marshall doesn't get hurt and North Carolina is at full strength. North Carolina is fully capable of not just challenging but beating UK, even though they lost the regular season meeting. With their front line, with Henson, with Zeller, and Barnes, I mean, I would have liked to see a championship matchup against North Carolina.
I think a full-strength North Carolina team would have presented more matchup problems than Kentucky may have seen all year long.
Because they could score on Kentucky, which nobody else could.
So now if I told you before the NCAA tournament started that Kentucky is going to be the overall #1 seed, but they're going to have to take on Western Kentucky, which, okay, fine. Then they're going to have to take on Iowa State, then Indiana, then Baylor, then Louisville. Would you think that's a bracket for an overall #1 seed?
No. No.
I mean, it seemed like kind of a tough draw.
Yeah.
No? I don't think you agree, Michael Grant.
Well, they're playing 3 teams. Half of the teams they play in the field are teams that they played during the regular season and know how to beat. So I thought it was difficult, but not impossible.
I thought there was a tough draw, just so simple. Playing a team that has played you, knows what you're going to do, especially when you're talking about Indiana and Louisville, who plays them every year. They know them back and forth. I thought that was a tough draw. not necessarily the toughest draw in the tournament, but I thought it was a very tough draw for the Cats.
But again, I mean, they benefited from the fact that they didn't, no North Carolina, and Syracuse, another team which could have given them problems. Fab Melo is not eligible, so.
And they did benefit from having the worst number 2 in the tournament. One of the worst number 2s in history was Duke, because Duke was a bad team all year long, and they would not drop out of the top 10 for anything. So when they lost early, I thought that. Actually, I thought that hurt. I thought they had a tougher run because I thought Baylor was a tougher team than Duke.
That is true.
I agree, and I mean, listen.
I was shocked that Baylor didn't play. I'm not saying they would have beaten them. I don't think they were that good, but I'm surprised it wasn't that competitive. That game was over at halftime.
Yeah, Baylor was very athletic, but mentally they weren't all there.
Yeah, I mean, what happened in that game? That was the. I mean, if I looked at this matchup, those 5 games. I mean, I thought this is where Kentucky. This is their best shot to lose it if there was one.
Because Baylor had the talent to compete
absolutely.
with Kentucky, but that game was kind of a microcosm of Baylor's season. They started out strong, got out 10-5. They looked good. They looked good early in the season. Then midway through the season, they just fell apart, and they fell apart in that game. They recovered in the regular season, but in the Big 12 tournament, but they fell apart in that game, and they just could not mentally get back in it.
I mean, now there's always this talk about can Cal bring in another, assuming he's going to be there, and we'll cover this later, but. Can he bring in another group of freshmen again? I mean, can he do this again? Obviously, we shouldn't doubt him because when you had the John Wall, DeMarcus Cousins team, and that's just a couple of those guys, didn't even go to the Final Four. Then he rebuilds, goes to the Final Four, rebuilds again, and goes to the championship and wins. I mean, can he really keep doing this?
There are certain coaches that always bring in talented players. Bill Self is one, Thad Mott is one, and John Calipari is another. So to answer your question, yes. I mean, he's always and just by himself, he has the recruiting connections to get good players. When you add in the Kentucky team, Kentucky fan base, the fact they're coming off a national championship.
Hey, and they're the cool team right now. Back in the 90s, early 2000s, North Carolina was a cool team because of the whole Michael Jordan factor. Now Kentucky's the cool team. The only thing I wonder what's going to...
You got celebrities showing up.
Right. I mean, Jay-Z showing up at games, and Lil Wayne was at the Superdome. But the thing is you wonder, when is there going to be that class that's just not that good?
Yeah.
And this class is not. This class is not as good as last year's or 2 years ago. And they're a little bit in limbo right now as far as recruiting goes. With Shabazz Muhammad, last I heard, may end up at UCLA. If they don't get him, if they get Nerlens Noel, they're kind of softer inside than they have been, especially with Eloy graduating. Granted, Eloy's not exactly Vlade Divac.
not quite.
But he's serviceable. He's 5 fouls. He can go in there and give you some minutes.
Yeah.
They don't even have that because Wilcher's more of a perimeter player, so they'll be a little bit soft inside.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a core there.
No, but with winning a national championship, obviously you get some grace period, and you stack the odds in your favor with everything that Kentucky is about and everything also that Calipari is about. So even if this class doesn't live up to the previous classes, it's always next year.
All right, we're going to talk more about the future of UK here on a special edition of the Friday Sports Buzz. Stay with us.
Join the club at Sam Swope Auto Group. When you service a vehicle at any Sam Swope dealership, you automatically become a Service VIP Rewards member. You get member pricing on parts and service, lost key return, and emergency roadside assistance. Plus, you can earn points that qualify you for discounts on your next vehicle purchase, up to $2,500. The best part is becoming a member is free. Become a member today at any Sam Swope dealership. Nobody walks away because everybody saves.
88.5 WJIE and the Kentucky Derby Festival present Celebration Sunday, featuring Building 429. Chris Sly, Johnny Diaz, Building 429. Sunday, April 29, 5 p.m. at Waterfront Park. And admission is only a $5 2012 Pegasus pin. Welcomed in concert by 88.5 WJIE.
This is a public announcement. CNNMoney.com reports that in some areas of the country, buyers are scooping up homes for as little as $1,000. Foreclosures are at an all-time high. Government and private banks are liquidating these homes now. If you currently rent a house or apartment, you may call now and learn how to receive your free list of these homes. All others may call tomorrow. Every house must be sold. This is a public announcement.
Call 1-800-292-1126. That's 1-800-292-1126.
Hi, if you missed the show this week, you missed out on a brand new restaurant. You can check it out on our website. It's called El Rincon, a brand new Cuban restaurant on our website, shop21live.com.
And Hurstbourne Animal Hospital is with us. They have a great deal for every size pet that you may have.
Plus, the HCG diet is back. We sold out before, so you're going to want to pick up on this offer. You can find this and all our other great values on our website, shop21live.com. And, of course, you can catch us here Saturday mornings at 10.
21 Live.
A special edition tonight of the Friday Sports Buzz as we wrap up UK's championship season. And just a reminder, you can hear about sports all week long. 1450, the Sports Buzz, Monday through Friday. Rashawn Myers, Mason in the morning. That is Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Michael Grant from the Courier-Journal, Kendrick Haskins from Wave 3 Television, who have covered Kentucky all year long. Are you guys going to be covering another championship team or another Final Four team next year, you think? Come on, Michael Grant. Weigh in. Come on. All right, Kendrick.
Well, out of the three between UK, U of L, and IU, at least one of them I will guarantee will be in Atlanta next year. Because IU is going to be absolutely loaded.
Assuming Zeller comes back.
I think he'll come back. I really do think he'll come back. They're going to be loaded. Louisville, they're coming off a Final Four and bringing just about everyone back. And I'm sorry, no disrespect to Cal Curry, but Wayne Blackshear is going to be a better player than Cal Curry.
How impressed were you with what Blackshear did?
To
me, he earned his scholarship money in that game.
In very limited time.
Yes. He looked terrific.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. I think eventually he's going to be better than Cal Curry. And then if Luke Hancock is half of Rick Pitino's hyperbole, he's going to be really good. They're going to be loaded. They have an excellent shot of making it back. And then Kentucky always reloads. They've been back-to-back years. There's no reason to think they're not going to reload and won't be back for a third straight year.
What do you think about U of L offensively? Is this a team that's going to look better in the half court next year with those additions?
You would think I've never quite understood. If you just looked at this year's roster, there's no reason why that team should have struggled so much in the half court when you have a legit 7-footer in Gorgie Jane who has good post moves. You have Shane Bohannon. Of course, Shane misses a dunk every game.
Yeah, at least one. He averages a missed dunk a game.
Yeah, but I mean, when you look just at those two, and then you have a shooter in Cal Currick and Chris Smith, and then somebody who can get to the rim like Peyton, it baffled me how they struggled on offense in the half court or in transition. That team should have been able to score. I don't know if the offense was too complex or what it was, but there's no reason why that team should not have been able to score last season.
Somewhere Rick Pitino flipped a switch, though, and it happened for him. Speaking of coaches, I mean, Calipari, is he going to be coaching at Kentucky next year? I mean, every time you have any amount of success, especially when you're in a high-profile job like Calipari, you start hearing the New York Knicks, you start hearing the Washington Wizards, you hear all these things. Do you think Calipari is back next year?
Yes, I wouldn't rule out him jumping to the NBA eventually, but I think he'll be back next year. And the transition from a college coach to a pro coach is so different because it's even harder than in football, because in football, both levels, the coach has control. In the NBA, it's all about the players. I mean, look what happening now with Stan Van Gundy and Dwight Howard. And it's not like Calipari had a great track record with the New Jersey Nets, so I don't understand what the appeal is.
The difference this time, I think, is that it's actually good teams that are out there.
That
with the Knicks and the Heat, possibly.
It's not really the Bobcats that are
right. Right. And I don't see him leaving Kentucky to go to the Bobcats or going to the Wizards. I know a lot of people talking about, oh, he had John Wall. Yeah. Look, there's only so much you're going to do with John Wall when there's no one else on that team. That team is pathetic. So if the opening with the Knicks or the Heat came open, I would be worried. But anyone else, he's not going anywhere.
And another thing about Calipari with this group, there wasn't a lot of the NCAA where there's smoke, there's fire talk either. Right. We heard that a lot with Eric Bledsoe last year and the last couple of years with some other players. Didn't hear a lot of that this year.
No, but again, just winning, and there wasn't any big controversy following around this team. The team lost 2 games. One, a buzzer beater, and the other one was a game that really didn't matter.
All right.
And you know, not a knock on Eric Bledsoe, but we all 3 of us covered Eric Bledsoe. Him having academic issues was not really a surprise.
Right.
With this team, they're all great kids. And not saying Bledsoe's not great; he's a great kid too. But these are all great kids that you can see being. I mean, I think Davis was an academic All-American coming in. He's the school he went to was like a superb high school that he went to up in Chicago. So these kids are all good kids, and they all, I think, came in with great expectations in their classroom. So for them to not have any problems, it's not surprising. It's just a great bunch of kids.
One of the guys that apparently had met with Calipari was Alex Oriaki, who will be able to transfer from UConn straight into Kentucky because of the NCAA rule that he's an upperclassman or a senior, and they're not going to be able to be in the NCAA tournament next year. Could you see him being a big part of this UK team next year if that happens?
Definitely. I mean, they've got plenty of open spots there, and they, you know, and they need help. I mean, when you look at the guys who potentially coming back, you assume Teague probably will be back. You have Wiltshire. I mean, opportunities are there.
I think a lot with him hinges on what does Nerlens Noel do.
Yeah.
I think if Nerlens Noel shows up at UK, you're not going to get Oriaki. If Nerlens Noel end up going somewhere else, I can see Oriaki playing for the Big Blue, and he would be huge for them.
You know, I like that rule in the NCAA, which it seems that the new NCAA president is really starting to see. Of course, we have to have a UK show and talk about the NCAA, but you know, I think he's really starting to see the issues that has plagued the NCAA over years and years and years. But I really like the rule that if your team is going to go, it can't play in the NCAA tournament or will suffer sanctions that way. If you are, I believe it's a senior, is it only your final year, you can transfer without having to sit out a year.
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, it's still, the coaches can leave. I mean, Trent Johnson apparently just left LSU to go to TCU. I mean, if your coach leaves and you come there, they always say, oh, you come to play for the university, but you come to play for the coach. And those players are left out. They should be able to leave and not have to sit out a year.
I agree, because I'm sure that Anthony Hickey did not go to LSU for the math teacher.
Right.
You know?
What are you trying to say?
He didn't go there for the math teacher. He went there to play for a coach, and he just ups and leaves. He should be able to up and leave.
I agree. And I mean, maybe that's something that will come into play because who knows how long Calipari is going to be in Lexington. All right, we appreciate Michael Grant from the Courier Journal, Kendrick Haskins from Wave 3 Television for joining me here on a special edition of the Friday Sports Buzz. And thank you for joining us here from the iTech Studios. Have a great night, everybody.